Hello and welcome back to another episode of In the Corner. I'm Cash. Today we have episode 106. Huge episode ahead of us today. Obviously, tomorrow we have got a massive boxing card. Once again from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It's the Ring 4, 4 world title fights, 7 undefeated records on the line. It could be the card of the year. Cannot wait to talk about that and more we've got going on this weekend. A ton of news, announcements for the last few days, but we're going to start with the big one. It's actually happened at the beginning of the week. It is official. Jake Paul is going to fight Anthony Joshua on December 19th, Miami, Florida, live on Netflix. And the craziest part, this is not an exhibition. There's not really any catch to this. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. I personally would have preferred 10, but they're only going to need 2. It is a pro fight. It will go on both of their pro records. You know, 10-ounce gloves, standard heavyweight glove size. The only kind of catch is that Anthony Joshua cannot weigh over 245. I would have preferred if they just said do whatever. But to be honest, this isn't a huge deal. AJ can still definitely make 245. In fact, it would actually probably be much more in his favor to be fighting someone smaller who, you know, Jake could have a speed advantage just because he's lighter. AJ will want to be lighter. He doesn't want to be a big block, you know. But, I mean, this fight, you have to give Jake Paul his credit. You have to. And I know everyone's saying, like, oh, my gosh, if Jake wins, it has to be rigged. And I kind of agree. I think all the rigging stuff is very stupid and just excuses, whatever. But it's hard to imagine that there's any way that Jake Paul can win this fight. Like, anyway. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. In fact, it's hard to imagine that there's any way Jake can make it past 3 rounds of this fight if AJ really goes out there. I do think there's a chance that AJ, you know, because fighters do sometimes when they're off big layoffs, they like to kind of just take their time and not rush it, you know. And I think there's a chance AJ does that. He may carry Jake a few rounds, but there is no way that Jake Paul wins this fight. I mean, everybody that he's fought, he's had some kind of big advantage over, whether it's size, whether it's age, whether it's experience. This time, he's fighting a guy who is way bigger than him, who is a former unified world champion, who is still a top 10 heavyweight in the world. I mean, who's got a huge power advantage. I mean, Jake has literally no advantage in this fight. The only advantage you could say is age, but it doesn't really matter. Like, yeah, AJ's not necessarily in his prime anymore, but he's still so much right now. He's still so much far ahead of Jake Paul's peak in his career. It's not even close. So, yeah, I mean, I can't believe that they're doing this. I love it, though. I think it's so exciting. I think that they're marketing it very well. And I think that Jake Paul is not going to win this fight, but he's going to get a lot of people's respect, or at least deserves to. I doubt that he will. But he deserves a lot of people's respect for, you know, everyone's saying, oh, fight this guy. And he's doing it, but he's fighting a guy who it's not even going to be like a competitive fight. It's not even like he's fighting a guy who's like, oh, this guy could beat him. He's fighting a guy who's going to smoke him. So it's just unbelievable. The balls on him are crazy. But that'll be a story we're going to follow much more. We're about a month out from that, and it's going to be a huge event. Let's talk about the fights we have coming up this weekend. And that is, of course, the main one, the Ring 4, 4 world championships across 4 different divisions. And, dude, like, we want from Turkey Ring Magazine is to just put on this night of stacked fights where they're all 50-50 almost, and they're all competitive, and they're all big fights, and all of these could main event their own card. So let's just run down the list. The first world championship on the show, maybe the closest one to call, and that is Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes. Very, very important fight for the lightweight division. Obviously, Keyshawn Davis just vacated this belt, or was stripped of it, I should say. Abdullah Mason stepping up his first 12-rounder. I mean, the guy, he's very, very talented. Has a huge potential in boxing. Like, we've seen his power, and he looks so good. He does have a little bit of a chin. We saw that in the Vasquez fight. He got dropped twice in the first round. As for Sam Noakes, again, he's been this British fighter who for a while had a 100% knockout streak. He's also undefeated. He's also very highly touted. I mean, it's not like he's fighting just some like random former world champion. He's also fighting another surging contender, a guy who's been on his way up. And I do think that Abdullah Mason is a better fighter than Sam Noakes, and I think that he's the favorite to win this fight, and I'm going to pick him to win this fight. But part of me is just a little bit worried because Sam Noakes, one, I just feel like he's so... I don't know. There's just something about it where I don't know if Abdullah Mason has fully come into his man strength and his man body yet. And he's still so much younger in experience and opponents, where Sam Noakes is, he's been through 12 rounders. Like, he's faced tough opposition. He is much more, he's been thrown into deep waters more. So I feel like Sam Noakes has a very, very good shot of winning this fight because he's also undefeated and also wants that crown. But you do have to favor behind Abdullah Mason. And, I mean, if he can win a world title this early on in his career, I mean, he's only 21 years old. Like, he's so, so young. So it's crazy. But, yeah, we will have a new world champion on Saturday. It just depends on if they're from the UK or the US. Also on the card, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, everyone's favorite fighter, fighting Fernando Puma Martinez. Very, very good fight. Honestly, one of probably the best fights you can make in just terms of like taking the two best guys in the division. Puma Martinez, guy who's a little bit under the radar, but a lot of people have him on their top 15, top 20 pound for pound list. He's definitely bringing the heat to Bam at the presser yesterday. Kind of talking some smack, whatever. Seems, ready, seems excited. And Bam, I mean, he's always just so nonchalant. I mean, he's got a baby. His son was just born yesterday, and he's not even there in Texas because he's here for this fight. So he's definitely going to have another level of motivation heading into this one. And I do have to pick Bam, but I think that this could be, on paper, Bam's toughest fight of his career. Just in terms of fighting, he's fighting another in-form, undefeated world champion, who a lot of guys are, not willing to step up against. And the guy just came off 2 big wins over Kazuto Ioka. Well, Bam, he needs to be focused on this one. But look, the winner of this fight, which likely will be Bam, is going to more than likely end up in a unification fight with the winner of Kenshiro Taraji versus Willibaldo Garcia. And I'm just saying, dude, Bam versus Kenshiro Taraji is going to sell very, very well. So, yeah, good fight there. Co-main event, Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr. This is the one that everyone is talking about. This is the one that's 50-50, the welterweight fight, the best fight in the division. Just that brilliant clash of styles. You got your puncher and Brian Norman taking on your slick boxer and Devin Haney. Which way is it going to go? Look, I've said from the moment this fight was announced, I think Brian Norman is very good, and I think he's very, very powerful. I think he's fun to watch. I think Devin Haney is a boxing mastermind, and I think that he is going to win this fight probably pretty widely on the scorecards. Not overly widely. Like, I think he'll lose some rounds. The only worry I have with Devin Haney is the chin, because he got dropped by Ryan Garcia a lot in that fight. Granted, Ryan Garcia was on PEDs and is a big puncher, but Brian Norman is a lot bigger than Ryan Garcia is, I think. And he's also got a crazy left hook. I mean, you saw what he did to Jin Sasaki. So Devin Haney needs to have hopefully really worked on his defense and not being able to take those shots, because there is a chance that Devin Haney gets hit by those and he doesn't get up. There is a very good chance. And that's the only worry I have with this fight, but I have to get behind Dev. I think that he is going to, largely, I just mean, like, you look at the guys' resumes, you look at what everyone's saying about them. I don't understand how all these people are now picking Brian Norman. He had one good knockout this year, and everyone thinks he's like the guy. I mean, Devin Haney, as much people don't like him, he's very, very hard to beat, and he's one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. So I've got Devin Haney winning this one by decision, but we'll just see how it goes. Main event, David Benavidez is back taking on Anthony Yarde. Look, Anthony Yarde, again, very big puncher, very exciting fighter to watch. He's going to make it a good time, but again, it's just hard to see any way that he beats Benavidez, because Benavidez is also a big puncher and also always makes it a good time. And Benavidez is one of the guys most in boxing that nobody wants to fight because he's just hell to be in the ring with. And, I mean, I've seen Anthony Yarde get stopped before, and I think he gets stopped again on Saturday most likely. We'll see. Maybe he can bring his own power into the equation. He can do something early that can offset the Mexican monster. But I don't even think Anthony Yarde is like a top 5 light heavyweight, and I think David Benavidez is a top 3. The only reason he's third is because the number 1 and 2 are Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. So, I mean, look, Benavidez wins this, he's got a shot at Beterbiev or Bivol. So huge fights on the horizon for him. I mean, the winner of Devin Haney, Brian Norman, there's so many potential fights at welterweight for them. Could go to Ryan Garcia, could go to Conor Benn, one of the other champions. So much on the line for all these guys. And it's going to be a fantastic night of boxing tomorrow. You also have Vito Mielnicki on the card. He's going to be facing the undefeated Samuel Nmoma. Over a 10-round middleweight fight. Nmoma is undefeated. They had a really, really good trash talk at the press conference. Seems like there's a lot of animosity there, so hopefully we get another good one there. Also this weekend, UFC Qatar. Main event, Arman Tsarukyan, Dan Hooker. This is a lightweight number one contender fight. The winner of this is going to be next in line for the title. I don't think they're going to be the next one to fight for the title, as it looks like in January or so, we're going to be getting Ilia Topuria defending the belt for the first time against what seems to be Paddy Pimblett. Could be Justin Gaethje, but I think the winner of this is going to get the next one unless they do pull a fast one and immediately book this guy for another fight. I think Arman Tsarukyan's going to win this fight. Dan Hooker may make it fun, but I don't know. I think that Tsarukyan definitely is a better fighter as of right now, and I don't see Hooker being able to set too big of a difference and be able to stop him or anything like that. I think Tsarukyan wins this one. Co-main event, Bilal Muhammad, Ian Mashad O'Gary. Another really, really solid fight. This fight could also be a number one contendership. In fact, I think that if Ian Gary looks very good here, he will get the next title shot against Islam Makhachev, which is crazy. But just because there's no real contender at welterweight right now who deserves it except for Shavkat, but Shavkat, he's been out for so long, he may have to re-earn his title shot like Arman is having to. Ian Gary can take a surge there, and he can, bad loss, not even a bad loss to Shavkat, good loss to Shavkat, comes in, gets a big win over Carlos Prates. If he beats the former champ, remember the name, Bilal Muhammad, that is going to be huge for Gary, and we're going to see him, jump up and get the number one pound-for-pound star in the sport. So I do think Ian Gary is the favorite to win this fight, and I'm picking him to win it, but I don't know, dude, because Bilal, people forget about Bilal. He's very, very good. So it should be fun. Volkan Oezdemir versus Alonzo Menifield at light heavyweight. That one should be a lot of fun. Mixtebek Orobaj finally back. He's going to be fighting Jack Hermanson. Orobaj needs to fight more often because he's such a big star. Everyone loves him. You got Shamil Gaziev. He's back, and this is an interesting one. He's going to be fighting Waldo Cortez Acosta, who I've seen is just landing in Qatar like an hour before the weigh-in. I mean, it's crazy. But you know what? He's going to make it. He'll be he'll be in Qatar for the fight. Obviously, he was meant to be Sergey Spivak. Gaziev was fighting. Spivak got injured or ill at the last moment, so Waldo steps in on short notice to save the fight. Waldo coming off a very controversial but good win earlier this month, just like 2 weeks ago. I think it was 3 weeks ago is when he fought. So, definitely a quick turnaround for him. But yeah, I'm excited to see that one. And then you also have Tagir Ulanbekov defending his flyweight ranking against Kyoji Horiguchi, who's a Bellator and one legend is what everyone's saying. And was buried on the prelims, but now he's obviously been moved up to the main card, which I think is probably a good idea. So this is a really, really solid 6-fight main card with lots of other decent fights on the undercard. I mean, Alex Perez, Asuo Mabayev, 7 versus 8 in the flyweight division. Bogdan Grad versus Luke Riley. Alexandre Topuria is fighting again. He's going to be fighting Beksat Almakhan. Good fights in Qatar. And you've got a few other fights scattered around. Just in a few hours, we're going to be having Harlem Eubank take on Josh Wagner. Obviously, his return to the ring since losing to one Jack Catterall. I expect Eubank to get the win here. A lot of other Washman guys on the undercard. They lost some of their other fights, but again, welterweight is not a great division, but there's so many names in it. So Eubank is not far away from getting another good fight, and even he could mix it in for like the British, fight Kona Walker or something like that, because Kona Walker is likely going to lose to Pat McCormack. Maybe it's Kona Walker versus Harlem Eubank next. I don't know. You also are going to have Francisco Verón take on Royman Villa this weekend. Good step up for Verón. Villa he's been there. He's been in with the big dogs, but he's definitely fallen down a lot on the pecking order. So yeah, I'm favoring Verón to win this fight, but again, it's just another example of ProBox TV having a very, very good 50-50 well-matched main event, and I'm looking forward to it. Co-main event there is going to be Sendabar Erdanabat stepping up and facing Abraham Montoya, I believe. Again, good step up for Erdanabat, but I have to see him winning this fight, likely inside the distance. Should be a fun night of fights. I believe it's in Florida. And then you've also got tomorrow night a 360 promotions card. Mizuki Hiruta defending her title against Gloria Gallardo. 4th title defense of the year for her, so that's pretty crazy. And I'm just now remembering that this is probably going to be the last time we do an episode before the fight. So Monday morning, we're going to have Tenshin Nasukawa finally get his world title shot against Takuma Inoue. Very, very good fight in the bantamweight division. It's for the WBC strap. I like this fight a lot. Takuma Inoue, he's still one of the best fighters in the division. He's shown he's beatable, though. And that's why I do think that Tenshin Nasukawa will win this fight. I think Tenshin has looked really, really good so far in his boxing career. and he's got a lot of potential. And he's a huge star in Japan, so he's going to be great for the sport there. So I've got Tenshin winning this fight. Don't know the method, probably by decision, but it's definitely going to be by far his biggest test as a pro. You also have Mikito Nakano versus Raisa Aleem. That's an IBF featherweight title eliminator, so the winner of that is going to become mandatory for Angelo Leo. Nakano looked really good when he was in Vegas in May. Aleem also fought on that card. Don't know if he looked as good, so I do think that Nakano would win this fight. Tomoya Tsuboi is going to be facing Carlos Cuadras in his third professional fight. Former champ in his third fight. It's crazy. And you know what? It's even crazier is that he was probably going to end up winning it. So that's just insane. And then you've also got Riku Masuda back. He's going to be fighting Jose Cervantes over 10 rounds. Really good 4-fight card. It's going to be on Top Rank Classics at like 3:45 in the morning. So it's going to be a very early day. But yeah, a lot of good fights coming up this weekend. Let's hop into some news we've had. So we're going to try and move through these topics pretty quickly, but let's get started. Alexander Usyk has vacated the WBO title, Fabio Wardley, and new. He's now the WBO heavyweight champion of the world. I mean, just a crazy story for him to go from white-collar boxing to world champion, especially at heavyweight in just like 10 years. It's unbelievable. Definitely not the way he would have wanted to win it, but you know what? He probably wouldn't have won it if he had fought Usyk. So I would take the win as it is. It is a little bit questionable why Usyk is not doing it. Maybe he wants more time out. Maybe he just doesn't want to fight Fabio Wardley, doesn't see the money in. I don't know. I don't know the reason. I don't know what he's going to do next instead. I hope it's not fighting Tyson Fury again. I really do not understand because Wardley was next. It's either going to be Wardley or Caballel, and I don't know if he's going to be fighting either of those guys now. But, hey, you know what? Good for Wardley. He's now champion. I've seen a lot of people say, could they do Wardley versus Daniel Dubois? Daniel Dubois obviously just pulled out of the Frank Sanchez purse bids. Again, another guy who's pulled out of the purse bids of this IBF eliminator. It kind of seems like Frank Sanchez is becoming a boogeyman in the heavyweight division. Nobody wants to fight him. I don't know if I would say that he's, like the scary guy, but nobody's willing to fight him. So definitely interesting, but we'll just have to see. Ryan Garcia has signed for Mario Barrios on February 21st, he says. Obviously, we know this fight's been in negotiations, and February was likely a possibility. Garcia just took it upon himself to announce the fight. Now, we do not know if this is if it's been actually fully completed. We know that Ryan has signed something, likely signing a deal. Maybe he's trying to pressure Barrios into signing it. I don't know. But I'll take it as announced and confirmed once it's actually officially announced. But it's looking like February 21st is going to be the date that this fight takes place. Just before this, Ryan Garcia was calling out Conor Benn, and they were going back and forth on Twitter, and I wouldn't have minded that fight. But you know what? Him going for the world title, I'm okay with it. A lot of people are mad because he doesn't deserve the shot. No, he does not. But Barrios is such a bad champion, I really don't care. Speaking of Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. says, as long as that fire is in me, I'm not retiring. I hate to tell you, dude, but that fire's gone. From what I saw on Saturday, he has nothing left. And that was literally the thing I said. He doesn't have the fire anymore. He shouldn't be fighting. And I don't know. I hope that he does retire because obviously there's no interest in the trilogy, but he needs to retire, dude. There's nothing left. He does not have that fire anymore. I get what he's saying, as long as that fire's in me. It's nothing like, dude, you didn't even win a round. You didn't try at all. You are done. You're done. But that's just my thoughts. Canelo apparently wants the Terrence Crawford rematch and says negotiations are underway for 2026. This is very, very disappointing and frustrating to hear just because I don't have any interest in watching Canelo fight Crawford again. I mean, yeah, it wasn't even like it was like a one-sided beatdown or anything. It was close. It's just that I want fresh matchups for both of them. I want to see Canelo fight some of these other contenders. I want to see Crawford go down to 160 maybe. I don't need to see it again. I know it's going to happen because Crawford got the win, and if they do it again, he'll probably get an even more one-sided win. I don't know. So I understand why Canelo wants to rematch, and I always thought there was a good possibility it'd happen. We don't know yet if it's happening, but it's very possible. But I don't know. I don't think it's a fight that needs a rematch, but I feel like every fight nowadays gets a rematch, all these big ones. I didn't think Eubank Ben needed a rematch, but then, what do you know? It went completely a different way, so maybe I'm wrong. Just some words on the Jake Paul stuff. First of all, Terrence Crawford apparently accepted the fight. Nikisa said that there was about 30 fighters who accepted the terms. One of them was Terrence Crawford, and they chose to go with Anthony Joshua. Terrence Crawford is coming off the biggest win of the year and is smaller than Drake. They chose to go for Anthony Joshua. Crawford's obviously better and still would have beaten Jake, but it's just crazy to think that Terrence Crawford's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. He'll take the bag. And then, as for Other people, Tommy Fury apparently turned down $15 million. Now, Fury obviously said, of course, after that this is because he's not able to get into the U.S., but it's just crazy to think that $15 million and he's not even going to try to get it sorted when he's not going to get $300,000 from anywhere else in boxing. Like, I don't know what he's doing. He's fought once in the past 2.5 years. Just a joke, dude. It's just a joke. Let's talk about the PFL. They announced their 2026 plans, 24 total events, 16 global cards, 8, 4 Africa, 4 MENA. Of those 16 global cards, they're all going to be on ESPN, 10 of which are going to be in the United States. The first 4 stops have been announced. Dubai in February, Madrid, Spain in March, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in March as well, and then Chicago, Illinois in April. So it looks like they're hitting the ground running. They got a lot of dates already set. Now, we know the first main event. Usman Nurmagomedov is going to be defending his PFL Lightweight World Championship against one Alfie Davis February 7th in Dubai. I knew that once it said Dubai, I was like, this is probably going to be the next Usman fight. And I think that this is a good opponent for him. To leave the Paul Hughes days behind, he's going for the 2025 tournament winner. I'm expecting that you're going to see all the 2025 tournament winners be in title fights in the first, 6 to 9 months of this year. And Alfie Davis is going to be getting that shot first. Well-deserved. I think that Usman still is totally going to beat him, but then again, we thought that Alfie was going to lose to Gadzi Rabadanov, and then he honestly, gave it a very good fight in there and won it. So who knows? But yeah, I've definitely got Usman winning this one. But I'm just really excited for this new year of PFL, and I love that they're switching it up and not doing the tournament, and we're just going to get a UFC style format. I think it's going to be much improved, and this is a good main event to start it. Subriel Matias has been popped for PEDs. They found ostarine in one of his testing samples. Now, it does not seem that this was found before the Alberto Puello fight. Seems like it's been recently as he's been preparing for Dalton Smith, which is arguably worse because it means that he's right now is about to go into it and we caught him beforehand. Now, granted, he is going to be giving a B sample. We're going to see if it's true because ostarine can get contaminated into these guys. It's not like it doesn't mean 100% that they are taking it. Ryan Garcia, there's still a lot of debate over if he really meant to be taking ostarine. We don't know. But, as of right now, doesn't look good for him. He could be getting stripped this Dalton Smith fight in January 10th. It could be off. I don't know, dude. Now, if it does, there's 2 options. One, Pitbull Cruz, Lamont Roach could get upgraded from the interim championship to the full championship, which I wouldn't mind. That honestly is what should happen because Pitbull is the interim champion. When this happens, he's supposed to be upgraded to full champion, and that would definitely make that card on December 6th have a little bit more at stake. And then also, there's potential for Dalton Smith and Alberto Puello, who is the next contender in line, to be ordered for the full title if Matias is stripped, and that could even replace the main event on January 10th. I don't know, but it's not looking too good for Matias, which sucks because I was really interested in his fight with Dalton Smith, but I assume that Pitbull Roach will be upgraded for the full title, and then Dalton Smith will just have to wait for the winner of that. Poor guys. Really having to wait on this title shot. Golden Boy announced that Alexis Rocha Raul Curiel 2 is finally happening January 16th in Palm Desert, California. Big rematch. Been waiting on that one for a while. One of the fights of the year last year. Easily what needed to happen for both. Curiel did have a fight in the meantime. Won that one, I believe, with a 4th round stoppage. But yeah, this is a very good fight for the welterweight division. 2 guys arguably in the top 10. Winner of this could get themselves into a title shot or at least another big fight. So I'm looking forward to it. Co-main event is going to be Manny Flores versus Jorge Chavez, too. They had a great fight this summer that was also ended in a draw. So I like that they're doing 2 of these draws run back on this card. It's going to be the night of the rematches. And Flores Chavez, too, is a great co-main event. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Good fights set up for next year, it seems. Out of the blue, it was announced that Tim Tszyu is going to be making his comeback next month, December 17th, in less than a month. He's going to be fighting Anthony Velasquez from the USA. 19-0-1, so undefeated guy, but I've never heard of him. I don't get this. I really think that Tim Tszyu, every time he gets knocked out or loses, he plans a comeback way too soon. Like I wasn't expecting to see Tim Tszyu back until middle of next year. And he's not even going to be taking a full, he's going to be taking 5 months off in between fights. That's all. I don't know. Not the best move for me. I would have preferred to have seen him take an extended break and really try and just get back to the basics. But look, he's definitely going to win this fight. Tim Tszyu is still a top 10, top 15 guy at 154. He's not fighting for a title next, but he's definitely still going to win this fight. Co-main event on that is going to be Sam Goodman coming off his loss to Nick Ball. He's going to be fighting Tyler Blizzard, an undefeated Aussie. So good co-main event there. I like that. Goodman will probably win, but good card they've thrown together on just such short notice. Let's talk about Misfits Mania a little bit. December 20th in Dubai had some big card updates, the biggest of which, Tony Ferguson is going to be returning, defending his MFB interim middleweight championship against Warren Spencer, the same guy who Dylan Danis submitted in about 15 seconds. Now, Warren Spencer, he's had a few fights on Misfits. He's pretty good for Misfits fighters. He's been in some fun fights. I mean, I think that he had 2 fights. One of them he lost, but it was kind of by controversial way. One of them he won, and it was a close decision. So, I don't know. And then they give him the Dylan Danis fight when he had no MMA experience, and now they're throwing him in with Tony Ferguson when he should be fighting, like, just another Misfits guy. You can argue if he should even be fighting a Misfits champion. He should be fighting a Misfits champion in the division below. So it's just so weird to me. Obviously, I think that they meant for Enisan Gibb to be his opponent. They said they were going to unify this interim belt with the main belt, and Gibb is the main champion. I'm guessing that Gibb, for whatever reason, pulled out, so he didn't want to do it anymore. Money wasn't big enough. We know he really wants the money. But yeah, so they're having to pull Warren Spencer in because he's always down. So good for Spencer to always be taking these big opportunities when they come to him. But yeah, this is one that I can actually get behind Tony Ferguson to win. Saul probably didn't think he was going to win, and I still think that stoppage was poor. But yeah, Tony Ferguson looks like he's going to have a nice little stay on Misfits. Dean the Great is going to be returning to face Amado Vargas, brother of Emiliano Vargas. Yes. Very, very big step up for Dean. I mean, I think that Amado Vargas is good. I don't think he's great. And I've always thought that Dean can, become a pro boxer. I think that he could compete at this kind of level. So, I don't know, dude. This is a really, really good step up for Dean. I mean, he's fighting a legitimate pro. So, I love this fight. 2 undefeated guys. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then also on this card, they announced Dynamite David Lopez. He's going to be making his MFB debut against Joey Barrero, who's apparently the nephew of Felix Trinidad. They're going to be fighting for the MF Pro Welterweight Championship. So Dynamite Lopez making his debut and coming back in a little bit of a big fight almost. So I like it. That should be fun. Misfits Mania is looking to be coming together as a very good card. We've had 7 fights at, and they're all very interesting in one way or another. Some other updates. Anthony Olascuaga versus Taku Kuwahara for the WBO Flyweight Championship has been added to this big December 17th card in Japan. And Seijo Yuriakui has also been confirmed to be making his comeback. So you're going to be getting 3 world title fights and Akui on this card. It's going to be a really, really good one. I feel like that card's kind of going under the radar with Nonito Donaire versus Seiya Tsutsumi and Kaisuke Takami versus Rene Santiago. So really excited. I'm not too familiar with Kuwahara, so I do expect that Olascuaga should probably win this one, but I really want to see him unify after this. Big news, Glory Kickboxing Heavyweight Champion Rico Verhoeven, who was like the face of the company for like 12 years as the champion, has vacated the title and is now a free agent. Now, this is very important. I don't really follow kickboxing, but UFC needs to be in a race to pick this guy up because they do not have a lot of heavyweight players right now. And he would be one of the hottest signings in combat sports. He could go to UFC. He could also go to boxing. He's a kickboxing world champion. He could really go to boxing, but I'd probably prefer him to go to UFC. And dude, I mean, like, he can really make a good run there. And like, if he goes to UFC, he could like speed run his way to a title shot within a year if he shows to be good at MMA as well, which I would assume he would be. So it's a huge free agent for the UFC, and I hope that they sign him in the next few months because he's not going to be on the market for too long. Kai Kara France has been randomly removed from the UFC flyweight rankings. We don't know why. I think he was at number 6. Obviously, he had a title fight in June. Didn't win that one. I don't know. Is he been removed? Has he retired? No word yet. Very, very odd that he's just disappeared from the rankings. And then lastly, some undercard fights. Zelfa Barrett versus Liam Dillon added to the November 29th card in Birmingham. Headlined by Ben Whitaker. Very nice fight. Very, very fun 10-round fight. 2 guys coming off losses, but I think it'll be a really fun matchup, and it should deliver a good, fun, little match over 10 rounds. And then also, Maxie Hughes is going to be fighting in a WBA lightweight eliminator December 12th on the Pulev Gassiev undercard. He's going to be facing Bakodur Usmanov, who I believe is undefeated. So really, really tough fight for Maxie Hughes. We'll see if he can win that one. He's been in these tough fights before and done pretty well. So very fun fight going on there. That card actually looks pretty decent. Better than I was expecting it to. So looking forward to that one in December. But yeah, huge weekend ahead. Benavidez, Yarde, Haney, Norman. As for my predictions one more time, it's Benavidez by stoppage, Haney by decision, Bam by stoppage probably, and then Abdullah Mason. I may actually go Abdullah Mason by decision. Well, I don't know. Either decision or late stoppage. I just think that Sam Noakes is going to be really tough for him to stop. But also, Abdullah Mason has ever been past like the 6th round? I don't think he has. So 12 is going to be a long night for him, where Sam Noakes has gone 12 rounds twice. So, hey, big fights this weekend. Looking forward to it. Enjoy the fights. Have a great weekend, and peace out, everyone.